most people don't really have systems. Using AI to automate is a big buzzword, but it's like, okay, what do you actually mean by that? What are you actually doing? A lot of times I think people get bigger faster than they expected, and the back end is just an absolute disaster. I mean, you've experienced this, right? Like I hired a company to replace our roof and they like didn't show up the day that they said they were going to replace our roof, right? Like it's like little things like that, which can totally sink your business. But it's easy to neglect them when you're just chasing the next deal and the next invoice and all of that.
Hello and welcome to today's episode of Pivot to Profit. I'm your host, Pam Jordan, and I'm so excited to talk to the amazing Makena Zannini. How are you?
Thank you for having me. How are you?
Amazing. So we're going to talk about all things COO and scaling, and I cannot wait. So let me introduce you. So Makena is the founder of the Boutique COO and CEO Confident, the business strategist and operations expert known for helping entrepreneurs scale with structure and results. After scaling her own company to 7 figures, she now helps clients double their revenue in just 6 months. With experience on Wall Street in tech and small business consulting and a degree from Wharton, Makena brings strategy, clarity, and execution to every business she touches. Amazing. So excited to talk to you today.
Thank you so much. It's so sweet of you.
Awesome. So before we jump in, look, listener, if you're a business owner and you need help understanding your numbers, reducing your taxes, and growing your wealth, just go to pamjordan.com, schedule a call with my team. We'd love to help you. All right, girl, I know some of your story, and we don't need to go too much into it. But when you were young, what were you taught about money, and what did you want to be when you grew up?
Yes, it's such a great question. I was thinking about it. I think for me, what I was taught about money was that it was bad.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up pretty working class, and I have distinct memories of my parents like fighting about money and like counting the cost at the grocery store line. Like I have distinct memories of these sorts of things and of this sort of demonization of people who had money. Like it was bad to, be able to go on a nice vacation or this sort of thing. So that's definitely, I think, what I was initially taught about money. What I wanted to be when I grew up, I don't even know. I probably some sort of engineer or like scientist.
Yeah.
That was definitely not what was typical, around me, but I always was really into numbers. So anything analytical.
Numbers made sense. So engineering, architecture, or anything like that. Yeah. And it's amazing how what we see as kids about money affects how we are today. And so, when you're taught that people with money, you shouldn't want money or they're evil or whatever, it makes you, it forms how you behave. It's amazing.
Totally. Oh, absolutely. I think it's still something that I like witnessed myself being like, oh, I don't want to have a nice car. I don't want to have like there's definitely sort of that thing that still sticks with you and you have to sort of I think counteract it, like be aware of it and counteract it.
Yeah, there's that voice in there where it's like, no, it's okay for me to have nice things. It's okay that I can have a nice car. You guys work hard. All right. So with your unconventional path, you ended up at Wharton. So why Wharton?
You know what? I like don't really think I appreciated what I was getting into when I went to Wharton. I just sort of applied because I knew I wanted to do something analytical. I was sort of disillusioned at the time about like doing things in a lab. I was like, oh, I don't want to just like live in a lab forever as a scientist or an engineer or something. So I was like, I don't know, business statistics, that seems like something I can do. And I applied and got in. So it was totally like I don't know, I didn't really appreciate it, but
Yeah.
now I definitely do, and it was a huge, like life-changing experience to be able to learn from such amazing, peers and teachers.
I love it. And then after college, you ended up at Wall Street.
Yeah.
That's quite a life choice.
Yeah, you know what? Not everyone, but a lot of people from Wharton end up on Wall Street or in consulting firms. I guess now probably a little bit more like in the tech space as well. But I just kind of was like, where can I get a job? How can I pay off my student loans? And I ended up on Wall Street. And again, like total culture shock, but I'm super grateful for the experience. And I learned a lot and I met my husband. So
there you go. And you did some freelancing on the side. Like Were you just grinding numbers at nighttime? Like what was that?
Yeah, no, it pretty much because I had put myself through college. And so I came out of school with quite a lot of student debt. And I had no safety net. I had no like parents to fall back on in terms of, if I needed to pay my rent or whatever. So I was freelancing to just kind of help support myself, honestly, and give myself a little bit more financial security. And I had learned so much working in businesses, going to business school that I realized was really applicable to small businesses where, a lot of times people start a small business and they don't necessarily have the business background. They're a therapist, they're an electrician, they're a whatever, right? And they go into business to offer that service or that product, but they don't have the confidence or the knowledge on the back end of things. And so that can cause a lot of issues. And so I just realized like I have a skill set I can help really serve these business owners. And it helped me, chip away at my student debt in the process.
I love it. So walk me through the decision to walk away from Wall Street and what came next.
Yeah, I mean, I had left Wall Street maybe 5 or 6 years in. You're one of very few women. It's not 2025 on Wall Street. I'll just put it that way. So,
Not
uh,
friendly.
no. So I was like, I got what I needed to get in terms of learning and experience and all of that. And then I made the choice to leave and work in tech for a while. And then I was freelancing and continuing to freelance and eventually decided, I was going to go full time in my business. And here we are. So,
I love it. So you started your business, but what was one of the first financial wins that you had that was like, oh, I can make it. I can contribute to my household. Like, we're going to pay the bill pay rent this month. Like, what was one of those first initial financial wins as an entrepreneur for you?
yeah, totally. I would say hitting 1 million in ARR was a huge moment for me where I was like, oh, wait, like this is like a real business, It kind of had been such like a side hustle, if you will, like a true freelance endeavor for so long. And so it was really shifting into realizing like this is a real business, 1 million ARR is a big deal. My husband like made me brownies and like wrote like 1 million on it with like icing, it's just like a really big moment. And now, when I have financial milestones, we will celebrate in like sort of similar small fun ways, just because I think it's important to, appreciate those milestones as you hit them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, with your business that you have now, there's a lot that you're bringing to the table. Tell us about the key components of how you're helping entrepreneurs scale.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would, I really describe it as business support services, which is a kind of, I think I made it up, but
I
basically
like
it
it.
means like all of the back end things that you need to run your business, except anything compliance, tax, HR, legal, like anything like that, I don't touch. But marketing, operations, setting up your CRM, any sort of research project, your bookkeeping, like anything like that we're really able to support in a fractional capacity. So when you kind of hit that tipping point of like, I need some support, but I don't really need a full-time person. I don't have like a huge budget for a salary or, benefits or whatever. We're able to sort of fill that gap in that interim period until you maybe do need someone in-house for marketing, say, down the road.
Yeah, I love bridging that gap. It's very similar to where we are is, you
Totally.
know, you need us until you need an internal person. So, what are some mistakes that you're seeing your clients are making when it comes? Because I know operations is a big piece of what you do behind the scenes. Like, what are some common mistakes that you're seeing clients struggle with and make that you're able to come in and really shed light on and show improvement?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a few things. One is most people don't really have systems and processes, and I feel like SOP is a big buzzword and like using AI to automate is a big buzzword, but it's like, okay, what do you actually mean by that? What are you actually doing, right, in your business? And so a lot of times I think people get maybe bigger faster than they expected, and the back end is just an absolute disaster. I mean, you've experienced this, right? Like I hired a company
Absolutely.
to replace our roof and they like didn't show up. the day that they said they were going to replace our roof, right? Like it's like little things like that, which can totally sink your business, but it's easy to neglect them when you're just chasing the next deal and the next, invoice and all of that, right? And so I think it's not taking enough time as you go to chip away at good processes and improving, like, okay, well, we missed the mark on that. How do we improve our process next time? And then you just get so big and it's just such a mess that you have to do a whole bunch more cleanup than if you had chipped away at it as you went.
I agree 100%. And I see that with many of our clients as well, because it's the things that work at 500, you break at a million. And the things that work at a million, you break at 1.2 and break it again at 1.6, and so very often a lot of the clients are just growing so quickly, they don't update those systems. And so now where they're used to having, I don't know, 10 clients a week, now they're having 50 clients a week, and it all breaks. And so that's where you can really come in and be like, let's figure out what's going on. So do you have an assessment that you do to kind of like a wellness checkup or something to figure out what's broken for these potential clients for you?
Yeah, what's really interesting or kind of unique about our approach is we are totally custom. Every single client gets their own treatment. And so, a lot of times they come in, unfortunately, probably similar to your business, the average client comes in too late. They come in when it's already so painful. And so it's like, okay, where are we bleeding? Like, let's stop the bleeding, which often is systems, often is, they have 24,000 emails and they're like not even seeing their leads or their clients' emails, right? Like there's bleeding. And so it's like, okay, how do we stop the bleeding? And then we're able to say, okay, let's like look at this holistically. What is your goal? Do you want to sell? Okay, great. In that case, you need SOPs for literally everything in your business, right? So like let's start chipping away at that. Are you CEO spending your time on answering the phone? Okay, well, that's not $1,000 task or whatever you want to call it, right? It's not a task for you as a CEO. So how do we outsource those tasks? So it's kind of an iterative process. And unfortunately, usually it starts with like a stop the bleeding
Yeah.
kind of situation.
So you kind of are a business doctor of like triaging, like, okay, your leg's about to fall off. Let's solve that. And then we
Totally.
can deal with like the rash on your elbow.
100. Yeah. It's an amazing analogy.
Yeah, no, I get it. And we do we see very similars. I love it. So is there another mistake that you see businesses making besides not having their systems in place?
Yeah. I think marketing is something that people really misunderstand a
Mm,
lot too.
I love that. Tell me more about it.
Yeah. So I think there's like a couple pitfalls people fall into with marketing. One is they market inconsistently. I actually just spoke to a business owner and she was like, I was so busy the last couple months. I wasn't really doing like marketing emails or posting on social media and all these things. And now I don't have any leads. And I was like, yep, that's like the story old as time, like you need to be consistent. And I think it's easy and it's very tempting as a business owner, especially early on, to not spend time and effort into marketing. But if you don't do it consistently, you will lose your pipeline, right? Your pipeline won't be as full and it's going to make it harder to grow. And so I think it's like that discipline of just really being on top of your marketing or just paying someone to do it and making that investment so that it's being done. I think it just has to happen in today's world. Like it just is what it is. If you think you can have a business and not be on social media, like there's a few of you out there who are successful at that, but very few.
No.
And so I would say being really consistent, and I think also just knowing what works. I people are like, "Oh, I'm posting on social media," and I look at their feed and I'm like, "Oh, this is all like AI generated graphics and stuff." I'm like, that's not a great look when someone looks up your business, right, online for the first
No.
time. And so I think understanding what you need to have and understanding people's experience of you when they first look you up is so important. And just the last thing I would say is, the statistics are more and more showing that when people hear about you, they look you up on socials. They don't look you
Yes.
up on Google.
Mm-mm.
And if your socials, you have like 8 seconds to capture them, or maybe less. I forget what the latest number is, but
Yeah. I'm sure it's
your
like
socials,
point 0.4 seconds.
It's crazy. Like our attention span is so low, and I'm guilty of it. I'm like, oh, I'm going to go to this hair salon. Okay, great. I'm going to look up the hair salon on Instagram. And if I like their feed isn't pretty, I'm not going to go there. It's embarrassing, but it's true. And so I think just like being honest with yourself that this is part of having a business. And if you think you're going to like be able to get away without it, you just, I think, are kidding yourself, unfortunately.
Yeah. So how do you bridge that gap for entrepreneurs when it comes to the marketing and be like, I totally get being busy and you're, just hit your first, couple 100,000, but you haven't posted and your email list is dead. Like, how do you support them? How do you figure out where to take them from, okay, well, no one's going to hire you because you have no leads to, and you have no social media to, okay, strong pipeline. Like what are those steps? How does your process work?
Yeah, totally. I always tell people you start small, right? Like if you are at that like 100K, 200K revenue, like you're just sort of like you're off the ground, but you're not totally like huge yet, right? You don't have to like eat an elephant in a day. You don't have to be posting 5 times a week. You don't have to be emailing 3 times a week. Like set a goal that's realistic for yourself. Like, okay, if that's posting twice a week, if that's sending an email once a month, and that's better than inconsistent. And then you can chip away at that as you have a little bit more budget to put towards your marketing, or you have a little bit more time as you free up your time with better systems that you are able to iterate on that. But I think when I meet business owners, they're like, okay, I'm going to do marketing. They think about it this like 0 to 100
Yeah.
way. And I think it's more of like 0 to 1 and 1 to 2 and 2 to 3. And you just keep chipping away at it instead of letting yourself get overwhelmed by the like enormity of what you could do.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And what's great is you have a team that's behind you that can help then implement that. So it's not like you're saying, yeah, your marketing is dead, go fix it. You also have the capability to be the interim fractional bridge on the marketing side as well to help them go from 0 to 5.
100%. And that's kind of what's different from, us from a typical consulting firm. And what really bothers me about consultants, usually, honestly, is like, you know, it's so easy to be like, okay, well, here's what you should do. Good luck. But instead to be there for the pivots and to be there for the decisions about resourcing and to be there for the decisions about where to cut costs, like when it comes to that, right? I think being like an actual tactical first team is something that for a smaller business is
So
more
big.
useful. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've seen clients pay consultants to come in and they get this beautiful report that says this is everything that's wrong. Go fix it. But that
Mhm.
doesn't help them. I just had a client where they had this and it was like, okay, well, first off, you didn't talk to me before you hired that consultant. Please don't do that again. But also like, okay, yeah, well, it's a beautiful $5,000 report, but now what?
Mhm.
What do you do now with it?
Totally. Totally. And I think it's very, yeah, I had a client, they were considering paying like $15,000 for a marketing like deep dive. And I was like, look, like you don't make enough money to pay $15,000 for a marketing deep dive. Like I hate to be the like killer of the dream here, but I think like you have to, if you want to do marketing, pick something smaller.
Yeah.
Get like a starter social media manager, get a starter email marketer, right? Like do something small and chip away at it instead of feeling like this one report, this one consultant is somehow going to like change your life because newsflash, it's not going to happen.
It's sad but true.
Yeah.
All right, so let's switch gears. You have a new endeavor, Brick by Brick Collective, which is helping
Yeah.
real estate entrepreneurs. So tell me about that and the idea and the passion and what we're doing.
Yeah, for sure. I call TBC, the boutique COO, I call it my flagship business, right? It's like I went to market with this idea, I proved that it worked, and now I am looking to basically customize it and apply it in different ways. And so I had a client who's now my business partner and friend, and she is a very successful real estate agent, team lead investor. And we had really impacted her business positively by working with us versus her in-house team she had used before. And she came to me and she said, hey, like, I really think this is a perfect fit for real estate because it's the perfect example of an industry that really ebbs and flows, right? It's like feast or famine. And the idea of carrying full-time in-house salaries is kind of insane for most real estate
It's not
professionals.
possible.
No. And so we kind of put our heads together, took the IP and the model that I had already developed and proven, and then used her knowledge and her experience in real estate and really tailored it to the needs of real estate professionals, both agents, investors, service providers like mortgage, title, etc. And it's been going really well. It's my first time doing like a industry specific business. So I feel like
Okay.
as a business owner, I've learned a lot from doing that. And it's been the beginning of what is now going to be like multiple industries that we're launching. So actually, um, in the next like week or so from when we're filming, we're launching a construction version. We have a few more in the pipeline. And so it's basically all powered by my IP and by the tech that we use, our custom tech on the back end, and really going to be more tailored to individual kind of like types of industries and needs in a way that TBC just naturally like isn't because it's broad based, right? So I'm really excited about this like evolution.
I love it because you've created a system that's scalable and repeatable. And so you're just taking that IP, that framework, and copying and pasting it into now Brick by Brick Collective. And then you can copy and paste it again. And that's how you're scaling all these. I love it. So
Exactly.
help me understand the dream. What's the big picture? What does success look like for you and your businesses and you and your husband?
Yeah, totally. Well, in the businesses, I really want us to be kind of like the trusted source of information around operations and marketing for small, medium-sized businesses. I feel like when I spend time even on my feed, I open my feed and I just see people, agency owners, professional service providers, just like not being necessarily as real as I would like to see the industry be, And I think there is a bit of a purge happening of like, going towards providers who are honest and trustworthy and giving you real advice. But like, I will be the first person to tell people not to hire us if they're not in the right place, they're not the right client. And I really want to be that trusted source where you can come to us with your business. We're going to be like, look, I think you really need to like talk to a lawyer first. I think you really need to talk to like a tax person first, right? Like you need to talk to this other person first, and you can know that we aren't just going to sell you this like high ticket offer and like laugh all the way to the bank.
Right.
And so really becoming that trusted source is really my business goal. And sort of a tangential goal to that business wise is I really want to do more to help empower small business owners who maybe don't have the resources um, to be as successful in their business as they could be. There's like so many institutional barriers to getting funding, to having the business knowledge to be able to be successful running a small business. And I want to be able to take some of the success, both the frameworks and financial success of the businesses, and put it back into like incubating and supporting small business owners and really supporting that ecosystem. So um, that's really the business goals.
Yeah. I love it.
Personal goals, I mean, we're pretty low key people. I think like we really just want to be able to have like a comfortable life, have we're like in the process of starting the surrogacy process to have a few kids via surrogate, which is really exciting. And so just supporting our life in a way that works for us. And most likely that'll be like us spending our winter weekend skiing at a ski house or something. Like we're pretty chill people, but that amount of security, I think, is a real goal for us and our future family.
I love that. But you're also a runner. Like I
I
was talking
am.
about complaining about doing a 5K and you're like, well, I run 100 miles. I was like, well, that's great for you.
Yeah, I'm a little crazy. I just ran my marathon last weekend, so it's not for everyone, but it's for me.
But you love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were talking about our running and you were talking about how you love it because it's like your alone time and you can think. And I'm like, I have my 13-year-old daughter and dog every time I leave the house to go run. So like it is not a peaceful moment. And she's talking about, all the things 13-year-old daughters talk about. And it's not like a time for me to think. And I was like, I am jealous of your running time because my running time is not calm.
I mean, I think my days might be numbered with when you have kids, I feel like you're a little bit less prone to alone time. So my days might be numbered on that front.
Yeah. Yeah. So being a parent is amazing. You will love it, but also your wonderful alone running time might be
Maybe a
coming
thing of the past.
might be coming to an end. I love
I'm
it.
okay with that.
I love it. All right. So let's wrap up with some rapid response questions. So
Yeah,
no need to explain, just whatever comes to your brain. You ready?
I'm ready.
Profit or growth?
Profit.
What's one business expense you'll never cut no matter what?
Ooh. Executive assistant.
I love that answer. What's the best money advice you've ever received?
Ooh. I would say like ROI based advice, like invest, looking at your return on your investment, business and personal.
Okay. I love it. If you had to start over today, what's the first thing that you would do differently with your finances?
I would hold a much higher bar for ROI for myself.
Yeah. Value yourself more.
Yeah.
I love it. What's the weirdest thing you've ever tracked on a spreadsheet? Because I know you're a numbers girl.
Oh gosh. Probably like something about working, like my workout routine of like, which days I did what workouts or something like that.
I love it. I love it. Perfect. So, McKenna, where can everyone connect with you and follow up to learn more about your amazing company and help them bridge that gap?
Yeah, you can find us at theboutiquecoo.com and at the boutique COO on Instagram.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for talking with me today. This has been fantastic. I love all the time that we hang out in person, but also just we're in similar places and just sharing your journey is fantastic. So thank you so much for being on the podcast today. Listener, make sure that you like, subscribe, follow. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, all those things. And remember, it's not what you make that matters. It's what you keep.